Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to that time of the season yet again where we are fastly approaching the end. And on top of that, not just the end of a season, but the end of the chapter. It seems like almost yesterday that we were experiencing the end of chapter 1, and now here we are again, ready to experience the end of chapter 2. With me today, of course, is my good friend and editor of the Mistakes podcast, Rex Films.
That's me. Hee hee hoo hoo. Booga booga.
And today we're just going to have a calm discussion about, what we got in today's update, what we are seeing happening. There's a lot of story implications. There's a lot of things that are, even as we speak, going down, developing, and what this could mean for the future come chapter 3 on December the 7th. So I think first thing to start out with is
Yes.
Cade. When we were playing earlier, I mentioned that I saw some diggers over by where that new bunker was found, like at the beginning of the season. I just watched Camping Crusher's video. Apparently, that's
Yeah.
because they're starting to build a fort. Fortifications for the end of season event, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Reminds me a lot when they set up the like factory or whatever you want to call it inside the volcano to build the mech during season 9, which is really cool to see. Um,
Kinda. Although that is just generally the type of building technique that they typically use.
right,
Although
but
I can see where
yeah,
that could be a little out of the ordinary in chapter 2. So.
yeah, and that's another thing too. Is like we've heard rumors that they're probably going to go back to some of the old art style. Like they're going to try to mix the two chapters art styles together, which is probably for the best because as someone who plays Save the World once in a while, there definitely is a aesthetic that the skins have in the old lighting engine, the old like just look in general. And it's really cool to like take these newer skins that we've only
Yeah.
seen in one way and seen them in a whole different light, which is going to be interesting to see how much different Chapter Three's animation, no, not just animation, but like the way the lighting hits it, the way just the shading looks, and what the map's going to be like. Holy shit! I mean, we're going to a whole new map, possibly even the IO's parallel dimension underneath the island.
Mhm.
Main thing we have to talk about though, the update itself. First of all, we have the pyramid now, and it's not exactly what I expected. I expected a full pyramid, not like this hollowed out like shell. And just a lot of the stuff that's come out today. Like you go on Twitter and all you're gonna see is people talking about like, yes, now we have Chapter 3 coming. Like the leakers are going crazy. You've got Hypex, China. We got a whole bunch of stuff to go over. All right, mech funding. I'm glad to see these things back, and I'm glad to see that even though they are coming back, there is going to be obviously a lot of nerfs to them because they're worried about player backlash. Now, personally,
They should have left them the way they were.
I was about to say, personally, I think we've got to the point where it doesn't really matter what they were like before because we have to think about what we're like now. Now, granted, there probably still would be some that were having issues. However, boogie bombs aren't our only option, and not only that, but the boogie bombs are gonna be there. So that's gonna be good to
True.
see. We're gonna see everything like start to get unvaulted again, and it's gonna be great. The terminologies they're using for the actual like what's it called? But they're using the same phrases they did back in season X with the whole island is destabilizing, cube is destabilizing. This is going to be a big event. 7 stages in comparison to Skyfire's 5. Now, for even more comparison, the Rift Tour event had 15, but that's mostly just because we were swapping between places so often. Now,
Right. Yeah.
now that being said, I'm looking right now. The amount of corruption that's going to spread across the island is insane. Uh,
Oh yeah.
it looks
That's gonna be a
it looks
wild
almost
one.
like a barren wasteland, something you would see out of like Borderlands or just any sort of desert movie, like where you see those big like plateaus, those prairies. Except a lot scarier with that in mind, because this isn't just your typical dried up area. This is the death of the island, the death of reality zero, the death of the source of the omniverse, not just the universe they are within, but every universe, every reality, every timeline, and alternate dimension there could be.
Mm-hmm.
Now, clearly, since we're getting a chapter 3, she's either going to fail, the queen that is, or
Mm-hmm.
something's going to slow it down. And more likely than not, that's probably going to be our good old friend, the Foundation, who, as we know,
Big Daddy Foundation.
as we know, has had a lot of updates since his initial like reveal and his initial delving into the files and finding his skin.
Mm.
He's had splash text added, a cape was there a contract? I know there was a cape. Obviously, there was
Yeah,
the
there's a he obviously has his cape, his contrail, which is kind of like the glow things that were coming off of the 0 point when it was like, being destabilized and stuff,
mm,
I think, from what I've heard.
right.
His pickaxes, which I hope is just like a kind of hard light version of what the rest of the seven have for arm blades, because I think that'd be
Mm-hmm.
cool. And I don't know what else.
I think there was a
I think that
glider
might
or
be it.
something, or we have his glider technically because the Victory umbrella. But
Yeah, we already have his glider because that's the.
that was a good Victory umbrella. Totally different than what I expected for the
Oh
Bravo
yeah,
season, to say the least.
yeah. That was fun to get
Right.
because I was like, oh holy shit, oh god, oh my
Yeah. No.
god, I can't believe it.
Season 6 was one of those seasons where a lot of sweats came back at the beginning, so it was really hard to get that first one unless you were on top of it like minute one.
Yeah, I think I was lucky enough since it was like 8, 9 a.m.
Right.
that day. I was just like, yeah, I'll play a match. I'm still hyped up from the foundation. I'll play a match. I don't know what the victory umbrella is. And then I won my first match, luckily, and then proceeded to freak out again over the fact that it was the foundation's umbrella.
That was a really good choice on their part. They introduced this character
It
and
is.
they build up this mystery to him. And come season 7, it's like, oh, he's in the water, okay. And then I myself tried to figure out, okay, well, based on the line, like the horizon, where could he have possibly landed in terms of relativity to our island? And it turned out he was in Gotham, which honestly, again, as someone who's read the DC comics and seen various versions of Gotham, it is completely possible that Gotham just had a good weather that day versus the usual shitstorm it usually has. Uh,
Hmm.
which is honestly, you have to admit, is a good way of distracting us to make us think it's in the island's area.
Oh yeah, no. Like I definitely think that it was purposefully not made, obviously like stormy or cloudy just to give that like illusion of like, oh, it's still by the island, guys. Oh, you might be able to get him soon, just for them to slap us in the face with reality. Ha ha ha. He's in Gotham. He's in the Gotham Harbor.
Which
You will not be getting him anytime soon.
we learned a lot from those comics too. Like not just the Batman
Oh
Fortnite ones,
yeah.
but just the most recent one. The whole idea of as long as you have yourself in some sort of sealed suit, or in the Batman Who's Laughs case, as long as you have antimatter or dark matter, whatever it was called, then you're set. You just
Right.
need to have something that can protect the main parts of your body to a certain degree, and you can
Right.
basically outlast any effects the island can have on you. And again, as someone who's read some
Right.
of the
And
DC comics, the fact that the Batman Who Laughs is in Reality Zero, that's no bueno. That is going to end in disaster unless he is like removed, because his whole thing is corrupting timelines, corrupting universes. It's the reason why there are so many different versions of a death metal Batman. There was the one he killed the Flash, one where he was based on Woman Woman, Superman. There was a bunch.
mm,
And it was crazy to look at because it's like this closest thing to an evil Batman we ever had. Although now technically we
right.
have this more armored version of Batman in the 0 armor. It's a good skin. And another thing we've seen it from the leaks. It looks like that IO guards, at least the one specifically that we've seen in these images, are not in fact all Jonesies, but there is probably a good majority of them that are. Like we have to think, Jonesy's been in the loop how many times?
Oh yeah.
He's probably got enough experience where
Oh,
he just makes a
probably
good.
thousands.
Right. So he's probably got enough experience where he could be a good soldier as well as just a good keep it quiet type of agent. So I would not be
Right.
surprised if they took the best of the best who had been in the loop a few times and created soldiers from their snapshots, which would explain why there are so many skins that look similar. I mean, it's a good way to explain that mechanic and why it's still the skins just
Right.
it's just a good excuse, is what it is, and it works for what it's
Hmm.
worth. For the story they have built in the past 4 years, like Jesus Christ, the game's been out for 4 years. Let that sink in. It's amazing, and it's up for 2 nominations this year. I believe it's best ongoing game and best community support, which, as of late, Fortnite's been stepping up the game of the community support. Patch notes every update, mini updates every week, major updates every other week. Fortnitemares was a banger in terms of like
Right.
content we got. We got a lot of quests, a lot of XP, and that was the big worry at the beginning of the season was that we were not going to have that XP grind, like that easy XP grind. We all thought we were going to have to grind our asses
Yeah.
off. That there was no way to get the XP, and then Epic just kept hitting us with these extra punch cards. They reworked how you get XP in the battle royale system. They knew what they were doing. That
Right. Yeah.
that all said, here's what we do know about the next chapter. We don't. Well, okay. Here's what we don't know because that's just a longer list. We don't know what POIs are going to be there, but hopefully Tilted's there. I mean, personally speaking, I'm no sweat. So any of those guys who can fucking build and edit like entire castles around me, yeah, no thanks. You guys go land at Tilted. I don't need that in my life.
Yeah. I purely want it back just so that way the sweats can go there and then die.
I mean, it's good for nostalgia too. Don't get me wrong. Like, I wasn't around long, but I
Oh yeah.
was there enough for Tilted and Neo Tilted. Which, if you don't like Neo Tilted, you don't like Neo Tilted. But I thought it was pretty cool.
I've been there for every single version of Tilted, and if that doesn't make me feel old, I don't know what will.
Well, with that in mind, Tilted would be a great addition to the Chapter 3 map. A couple places they could keep as well, maybe from this map. I would like to see the Butter Barn return. That was a good POI just in terms of like restaurant themed POIs because the two major ones we had were Pizza Pit and Durburger, and both of those have kind of just been left. They're just there now. They don't really have much to them. Meanwhile, with
Yeah.
with uh Butter Barn, it had music going. It had like that whole aesthetic. It was in a desert. Like it definitely fit where it was supposed to be. With at least to me, with Durburger and Pizza Pit, they're just kind of there. Like especially Durburger, the poor dude. He's like just sitting there, in the middle of the forest.
Well, I mean, the Durburger restaurant used to have its entire own POI called Greasy Grove, but
Right.
you know,
That's been turned to
it
Greasy
used
Graves.
to be fantastic.
Yeah, exactly.
Now,
So it'd be cool to see that return.
yeah, now
I
it
said
just
it
doesn't exist.
right. I'd love to see like a bunch of like food based POIs come in, like just a bunch of like restaurants, because the Food Fight LTM, first of all, was, from what I've seen of it, like gameplay, it looked amazing. It would have been one of the fun ones because it's just so silly and it's just so hilarious. You take just about any skin, you slap a tomato or burger on its head, and it's hilarious and it's funny as hell. Oh yeah, that's another thing
Mhm.
with the recent comic. They're real. They're not mascot heads. Do not kill them. You will regret it.
You could eat Durburger.
You could literally eat both of them. Yeah, that's kind of weird to think about.
Also, oh wait, I just realized that probably means that he actually has either his tongue is just a giant piece of ham, or it's a legitimate tongue, and I don't know how to feel about that. Because
Uh,
that also means that he has eyeballs on the burger.
yeah.
That he's just become a much more disturbing skin now that I think about it more in depth. That's yeah, I'm not okay with that.
Well, that in mind, okay, what we know basically is we're going to a downtime, 2 day downtime, just like last time.
Again.
What this means is that they really are. This is going to be a huge update. So if you guys don't have like the space, you might want to make the space because Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Especially if we get all these mechanics we're talking about. We're talking
It's
sliding, possibly sledding, more melee combat. If we get more melee combat, I gotta give props to them because the one thing I hate is the fact that if I have to pickaxe someone, it sometimes feel like you're not gonna win because if those guys just have better ping than you, they're moving around you faster than you can, you're dead. But you give like another melee
yeah.
option, and you could actually somewhat like maybe close the gap with that. The
Right. Yeah.
We do have like the name of the island, which is just Artemis, which makes sense. They've been going with the Greek god layout, and it's been working out so far. As for the
Yeah.
shape of it, it does look like a similar shape to the first two islands, at least outline wise. We do have a few concepts based on the outline. And if any of it is even
Yeah.
remotely correct, oh, excuse me, if any of them are even remotely correct, then holy crap, this is going to be a wild ride. We're going to get
Yeah.
biomes reintroduced. Now, again, as someone who doesn't mind Chapter 2, I do have to admit the lack of biomes is a little bit upsetting sometimes because there's plenty of opportunities for it. I mean, uh,
Yep.
look at the Predators POI. It just kind of sat there after a while. It's like, oh, cool, it's a jungle, quote unquote, but like no volcano.
Bro, I remember when people thought that was gonna be a fucking Jurassic Park collab or some shit.
I mean, they had the cages, right? Like you, as in raptors can
Yeah,
spawn in
they
there.
they had cages.
I do
Yeah,
like that the
like
raptors can spawn in
I
there
don't know
since
what
like
they thought they were gonna do. They think they were just gonna add the fucking T-Rex or Indominus just to fucking roam the enclosure? Like
I mean that'd be pretty
that
cool.
wasn't nearly big enough.
I mean,
Oh no, it would have been awesome, but it's just
it
like
would have given them an excuse
there's
to
no
put Chris
feasible way
Pratt in the
that could
game.
have happened.
Would love to see Chris Pratt in that game. Come on.
Oh boy, my replacement. Great.
uh, but yeah, no, this from what we can tell at least, this chapter is going to be a huge improvement on both one and two. The event is going to be
Yeah.
insane. We have again a loading screen for the event. We have a name of the event. In terms of what I
Right.
think is going to happen after this, assuming we survive, assuming we quote unquote survive, because Lord knows they'll probably kill off people and then be like, oh, here's a new set of survivors. You have to work it out, and it's like, okay, whatever. You know, it is.
Well, I mean, we all of the previous characters from the old map. Correction, most of the characters from the old map survived being sucked into a black hole and then spit
Right.
back out. So I,
Yes.
I think I think we have a pretty good survival rating.
Fair enough. I mean, oh yeah, this bad boy right here can survive so many black holes. Uh, yeah, no.
Dude, I remember being sucked into it. It was fucking terrifying.
Right. So this end event, how it's gonna go down? Well, 7 stages. Assuming the first stage. Okay, assuming the wait time between the actual event and like when you load in isn't a stage. There's the actual startup where the queen probably pops out of her bubble ready to fight or just take over the island completely.
Mhm.
We get some scenes of maybe Salone trying to send some shit at her, maybe launch some rockets, trying to snipe. There's a lot of things they could try. I would
Right.
assume that maybe if we're lucky, we can get at least one section where we actually get to fight off some cube monsters. Because personally,
Honestly, I'd be down for that because I feel like that would make sense. You
right?
know.
Because like okay, the one issue I've always had with a lot of the Fortnite events, and it is what it is. They're limited by the times, basically, is the lack of interactivity. Like that's the reason why I really enjoyed the solo event we got back in season 5 or season 6, I should say, because we got to actually actually sort of interact, kind of close the portals and shit. But even that didn't feel like a lot, especially when you're getting shot up by the helicopter and it feels like there's no risk. Because you can just sit there until they get
No
turned into
stakes.
chickens. You just sit there and watch them get turned into chickens.
Dude,
You're like,
I think I actually mentioned that on my first go around. I was I was just sitting there like, it's okay, just hurry up. I mean, I know I can't take any damage, but like,
it's
hurry.
you still feel the stress at least, which is at least they did a good job with that.
Yeah, yeah, it was a little stressful.
Like, let me tell you, when I
So,
had the when I had to run between that build fight going on, I was like, oh, do I have to take these guys down? I was a bit worried. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Oh no, but
Dude, my brain was fucking melting from the second I heard the words I'm going to the 7. After that my brain just melted and I could barely fucking speak.
no,
Like I just
that's another thing too. Is like, are we gonna see Jonesy in this event? Because like, okay, Foundation's back on the island, but he already said he's gonna go look for Jones. But does that
right.
mean he finds him before the cube, or does he see the cube? He's like, okay, I'll find Jones later. Like, we don't know.
I I I don't know, but I feel like maybe he did somewhat of both. Like he kept surveying the cube and the progress and stuff like that.
Right.
But he was still looking for Jones. He was just making sure that the cubes weren't, causing a huge. I mean, he knows that they're a threat, clearly.
Obviously, I feel like
Uh,
I feel like the cubes are the biggest threat. Like Io, whatever they're.
Oh yeah, no. If one of them can nearly take down the original island,
Then
fucking
the leader can
the
do it.
pure
The
ex-
leader can do it
the
so
pure
easily.
extent of not only multiple regular Kevins, as we've now learned, the drones.
Right.
If a drone can take it out, what was it, like 6 or 7 drones,
There was
including the original Kevin?
if we're including the one that was in the factory, I think it's like 7 or 8. And then of course there's the Blevin or the
Yeah,
Bluevin, however they're calling it, who has
right.
like the files for like certain awakenings and shit. So we're leaving him out of this. He's probably gonna play some sort of role. I don't know what the role's gonna be.
Maybe. I don't.
It just
I don't.
seems weird that they would
I
put
don't.
him
I don't.
there and did not do anything with him.
Yeah. Also, he doesn't really have a good route to get onto the main portion of the island. Like he's on like this little secluded area
Right, and he
with
even
like steep mountains surrounding him.
yeah,
It's like
even if he went upriver, he would still have to get up to Lazy at least, and then fall all the way down.
right.
I have a
And
feeling
honestly,
that he will play something. I bet
considering
something tells me that maybe like Foundation would be like, well, we gotta find some way, like, because something tells me if you want to counteract the corruption of a cube, you need to have a polar opposite to it. Now, let's assume that what we did to the cube by rebooting it turned it into that opposite, turned it into the positive towards their negative energy.
right.
Foundation could probably use him as a source of that, or it as a source of that. Again, I'm not assuming genders
Right.
here, but if they give birth 99% of the time, that's a woman.
True. But listen, I don't know. Just based on the other cubes' movement, I know they were just biding their time until the cube, like the queen, got there, and then they took a more direct approach. But
Right.
based on all that factor, I don't think the blue cube's gonna get close until like a day or two of the event, and even then, he's not even gonna be close enough to do much. Like maybe who knows? Maybe the blue cube can actually float, because we know all cubes can float in some capacity.
Right.
Like in chapter 1, Kevin literally raised up an island as a little hat. The cube queen can just float whenever
Right.
she wants to, like to awaken her children or,
See, now
or shit like
that's
that. Like,
another thing too. Is like, is the gold cube her true form? Is the body her true form? What is the connection there? Is that just is the body just a way of her having a physical manifestation, or is the cube like her source of power? I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of questions here. We know she's going to survive this event because she's supposed to be important going into chapter 3.
yeah, I think that her physical form is the cube queen, but I think the golden cube is more kind of like a shell that she can hide in
So, yeah, sort of like a
until
safety
she
net.
has to. Yeah, like, oh, because like you can't damage the cubes. You can't even begin to crack them unless they want to, get crippled.
Right.
So it's like it's not something that anyone can just like easily get into. So I imagine it's really just kind of like a protective like shell, like, because the last thing you want is to just get fucking surprise attacked out of fucking nowhere as you're floating around. The last thing you need is some annoying dude sitting on a hill just shooting you in the back of the head. Like,
yeah.
that's not something you need. But if you're in a giant golden cube,
right, that's indestructible, right? So it's like it's some
like
sort of protective shell.
you don't have to worry about that. You can just and clearly the cube queen can just come and go as she fucking pleases,
right?
as we saw in that opening trailer for
right.
her.
And now with her Ice King copycat sphere looking shit, she's undamageable in there as well. It's some sort of like meditative state, some sort of like avatar state that these guys can go into. Now I did
like she clearly knows what she's fucking doing. She's probably done this millions of times to different realities.
I mean, her staff does indeed say that it has ended other realities, so there's no doubt that this thing is like that she has like done some crazy shit.
Right.
With that,
honestly, I
know
personally
she's
like.
How's she gonna
Oh
survive though?
yeah.
That's the question. Like there were so many questions we're not gonna know until the fifth, and it's scary to think about that because it's like, fuck, what am I gonna do? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I personally like to believe that our Kevin, the one we first got introduced to,
Mm-hmm.
was just a scout. He was just scouting out the island to find shit.
Right, and
Like
he came
he
out
went
like
around the island.
he came out right after we, what was it, season 6 or was it season 5? He showed up.
Season 5 he showed up. He showed up like I think halfway through the season, when the giant rift was like
Well, there you go.
shrinking and then expended all of its energy, which
I think that was a mistake on the visitor's part then because the visitor created that giant rift when he left in a rocket,
oh
right?
yeah, no, I think the visitor's job was to find the 0 point, figure out
And in
precisely where it was cuz
and in doing that, he let
obviously
the cubes get to the island.
right. So I think that was just like a little oopsie that happened. Unless, I mean, there is the theory that the seven are actually working with the Cube Queen,
I
but
doubt that so much.
I I I
It
don't know.
doesn't make sense because, especially with the most recent comment, it says we need to free the 0 point. We need the. So it's like what?
true,
So it's like, why
but
would
like,
they be working with them? How is that? How is ending it freeing it? It doesn't
well, I
make.
mean, that's the question, because that's what happened exactly in the end event. They tried to destroy the fucking 0 point
I don't think they.
with the meteor.
I'm not sure if they tried to destroy it or they just tried to like reset it because it was destabilizing at that point. So maybe.
True, but like,
But
Singularity
here's a question.
purposefully destabilized it.
Now here's a question. Well, she had to if she wanted to destroy the monster that was trying to eat it.
Yeah, but still, there are other ways that she could have done that,
Well, we know
And
that. We
the
know that.
giant fucking sword in Neo tilted. She could have
Okay.
pulled that out fucking whenever.
Well, as people that like have seen these events, as people who have sat through this, we know that. But how much did these characters know at the time is something we have to keep in mind. How does time work? How many years have they actually been studying? How many generations go by between seasons? We don't know. Some of them are direct sequels to each other. Like if you look straight at like chapter 2 season 3, chapter 2 season 4, Hammer of Thor comes down towards the end of season 3, immediately into season 4. Makes perfect
Or,
sense. It makes perfect sense cuz even in the trailer, he shows up to the island with his hammer.
Yeah. And another good example would be from basically from the end of season 4 to like season 6. Like
Right.
all of those were one after another.
Right.
Because in each trailer, it showed something that had happened in the previous one.
Right.
And
Clearly not
season
enough
5's
time had
trailer,
passed. Right.
it was the visitor's rocket bolting into the fucking sky.
Right.
In the fucking season 6, it was Kevin the Cube lifting the island from Loot Lake, which he had just fucking melted into, and shit. Like,
Right. But then you got
those
like
were all back to back to back.
but then you got weird ones like let me give you a good example here. Season 1 to season 2 of this chapter. Season 1, there was just a little house on that like on what's it called? On that island, right? Like from I didn't play much of season 1, but I
Yeah.
remember there was only a little house there.
Oh
Suddenly
yeah,
season
there's
2
just
there's
a tiny little house, little
all of a
log
sudden
cabin.
suddenly season 2, boom, big ass agency. How the fuck?
Yeah.
That clearly there was some sort of passage of time
Yeah,
there.
that one was a whole while in between.
And then obviously 2 to 3, there's the flood. It takes a while for the flood to actually happen, so the storm can return to how it was. And
Right.
then all these buildings get erected. Like that's something we have to keep in mind. It's like again, like how much time passed between season 6 and 7. I mean, like the spire's there. That's cool. But we didn't really get an event to try and explain how much time went by. We just kind of got thrown
Right.
straight into it. It's like, yo, see the spire? Blow it up.
Yeah, true, but I feel like because obviously when the spires first, like, we go through that event in season technically season 5 at the
Right.
beginning of season 6, and that's when the spires first created.
Then the question is, how long does it take for the jungle to form around it?
Exactly.
Does the
How
0
long
point
does it take for a literal civilization to rise up, make houses around the spire, connect zip lines to it, you
Right.
know?
And then
Like,
you take Roz, who says he studied it his whole life. Now, unless the spire is in his universe as well, and he was pulled from a different universe, he shouldn't have known about the spire unless he was there on
exactly.
the
So
island.
like that had to have been there for just
a while.
decades, at least.
So it's like how much time has actually passed between chapter 1 and chapter 2 with that black hole? Was it only a few days? Was it
Right.
weeks? Was it months? How did the Io, despite being put into a black hole, you know, become like reset it, stop it, restabilize?
Well, I think that since the island itself in the world that the island lives on is technically separate from the Io's reality, I think that the black hole created there is like a standard kind of black hole where as that consumes matter, it grows, and just generally over time it grows. So I think that's kind of what happened. So they had a good time frame between when the black hole was created and how long it would take to reach them. So that's how much time they had to stop it.
Right, especially if this black, because again, now that we know about this like the term omniverse, again, I've known it for years because of power scaling conversations and shit, but with this idea of the true center of everything, every timeline, every dimension, every reality, every multiverse, every universe, like just everything that could possibly exist or has possibly existed. At the center of it all is the 0 point. A black hole forms there. How much, like, to what degree is considered far away from it? How far is Io's reality to that? But at the same time, they have a direct bridge into it.
Right.
it
It's
it's a
the
weird
0 point
concept.
works in weird ways.
It's a weird concept to
It's
think of too. And granted, it could just be simple as, oh, they retcon the story here and there, but it makes
No,
perfect sense.
I don't think they retconned that, because I feel like by the time that they started off the story, they at least had a good idea, like a rough concept of how the ending of it would go.
Right.
Because like we know that Epic planned shit out in advance, like
A
years,
year to 2 year in advance from the
sometimes.
looks
Yeah,
of it.
sometimes like 3 years. Like
Sometimes it's almost out of nowhere, like with a lot of collabs, and they somehow make the collabs work.
exactly. So
Like
it's like,
honestly, this Naruto collab, these guys could have been more guys Jonesy pulled in, and they just never
yeah,
showed it.
exactly. You I mean, we know Laura Croft was there, and
Right,
we just never saw that or got that.
and she's a hunter. She's literally a treasure hunter. It's in her title. So
Exactly.
I don't know
So
why the
he
fuck
clear,
I don't know
and
why the fuck
also,
he chose Neymar of all people to bring in, but sure, why not?
well, he knew his homophobia would aid him well
Oh
with
god.
the amount of gay people on the island.
Oh Jesus. Him and
I'll
him and
joke.
him him and what's her face Tirana gonna have a fucking fist fight.
Yeah. Jokes aside, though, like I feel like the island is like the center of a spider web.
Right,
You
and
know?
that's how a lot of people like draw it out too, and it makes sense.
Yeah. Like just thinking. I'm trying to think of a good explanation. Okay, if you like have like a really low powered vacuum and like put it in the center of a spider web, obviously the center is going to go first,
Right,
but the rest are just going to slowly come after it.
right.
So I think that's kind of what happened when the black hole occurred, is that it's just kind of like a inevitable doom unless you can figure out a way to stop it, which Io did. Io found out a way.
Using keeping that in mind, maybe the seven planned it that way. Like they saw, okay, 0 points destabilizing. That's not part of our plan. We gotta, cause a little bit of an issue for someone to fix. Like if they can't fix it, well, we'll let Io do the work for us, and we take it back when we can.
Yeah. Plus, we know the seven, or at least the Foundation, can survive in literal fucking nothingness for
Right.
ages without any like, oh no, I might die, because like he has a like
The suit, the
fucking,
suit does
yeah,
all sorts of
his,
shit for him.
yeah, all their suits, like, and I do find it interesting that if you go into the loop in a like in self-contained suit, it's like it won't affect you because it can't get to you.
But
But
you'll
the
still be in
second
the
you
loop.
take, exactly, like you can be technically in the loop, but not have to deal with any of the effects. Like, and that's how like the visitor
Maybe that's how the mythics
was able
work.
to.
Like the heroes come in, like they're contained to a certain point, and then boom, we get to use their powers because of it.
Maybe that could be an interesting thing. but like that's how the visitor was able to move and go get shit to build the rocket and make it
And
functional.
that's the
That's how
reason
the
why the
scientist
loopers
was able
could
to.
is why the loopers could see it, because not only because like they can't just take a new snapshot of the island every time something new pops up. That just doesn't work.
Exactly. So it's happening both outside the loop and inside the loop simultaneously. But we only really get to see the big, you know, like,
The big
oh
shit
wow, look at this
outside the
big
loop.
change.
We
Exactly. Like we only get to see it once it gets to a certain point of construction,
right.
because the island is taking effect from this, but like it's not going to do every detail
Right.
while it's happening, because we're loopers. We don't see some of the stuff that's happening during our 22 minutes.
Right.
We
Because
just see what happened previously, and that's why.
we basically just see what we choose to do in those 22 minutes trying to survive.
Exactly. So that's how the scientist was able to go around the fucking map and put up giant rift beacons without anyone fucking seeing it.
They're just like
Because
they're just like,
he was
"Oh,
able to do
good."
that outside the loop.
Yeah, it's like, "Oh, good. More people to murder. Must go into this new western town."
Yeah. The I find it really interesting how stuff that's technically outside the loop but still happening on the island can affect what the loopers see inside the loop.
Right,
You
exactly.
know?
And that's again another thing the Fortnite Batman comics touched on when he was talking to Renegade Raider about the Spire. He's like, when did that get here? It's like, oh, that just popped up on the island one day. It's like, I'm sorry, what? So
Yeah.
you guys didn't experience that event then, which makes sense because if you pay attention, during the season when the Spires formed, he calls us a looper, meaning we are in a loop at that time.
Right. Exactly.
For that event specifically, we are in a loop, which is probably why it's a solo experience.
Right. And that's also why we can see a bunch of other,
Right.
characters
It's
fighting.
also probably why we can do it multiple times.
Yeah, probably.
I mean,
Although I think that might have just been something fun that Epic did, since it was the
yeah, they want to see
opening
people's
event.
reaction. At the same time, good explanation if they want to give it one.
Yeah. So that was, and also Jonesy from the IO. I think his portal device had like one of those devices in it where, like, if you had it, it wouldn't
Yeah, because that's the reason why he was able
contain
to.
you
That's the reason
to
why
the
he was
loop.
able. Yeah, it's the reason why he was like able to look
And
at us.
that's why when he was told to overload the device, he's like, if I do that, I'll be stuck in the loop, because then the device would be
Right,
broken and he would
exactly.
have no way of A, getting out of there,
B,
and
keeping
B,
himself from going.
retaining his
Yeah,
memories.
which
So,
it's still cool to see him have like all his different like variants from his different travels and shit.
yeah.
It's great. It's great shit. It again, like I really hope that this next chapter can up the ante on these events, because as cool as these events get, I there's times I'm just like, you could have done more. There are times I'll look at an
Yeah.
event and be like, this could have been more.
Oh, yeah.
Like the Galactus event, perfect. I would not change it. It was a good way, had interactivity, had a crazy amount of like just good music in general, and it just felt good.
Right.
The last season's event I felt was a little too short. Like maybe they could have put a few extra steps in. Maybe like made us actually manually break out of prison instead of Sloan just going beep boop beep, have fun. Because like I as a person who's played like a lot of games, some of my favorites are anywhere you get to break out of prison. Like where they like it's cinematic, but you still get a lot of control in it. You know, you can shoot up the guards, get your ass out. It's just something so cool. And I'm really hoping that maybe, just maybe, the Queen wins to some degree, and maybe we get some sort of, not only just an end of season, an end of chapter event, and maybe a solo experience event. Like I don't think we will, but like if we could, something where we can escape her control, something that allows us to
Right.
get out and go back to the quote unquote way things were until we can figure it out.
Right. Yeah. That could be interesting. And to be honest with you, with the Foundation just being on the island,
Right.
I have a feeling during the event we're gonna see him hold off the Queen,
I wouldn't doubt it.
especially since apparently his sacrifice wasn't trapping himself in
Well,
the
no
in a
shit, because
spire
if
for
if it
months.
they know if that from the start made me think, oh, is he dead? It's like, no, he's not dead. He's alive in there. We're good.
No.
And it's like, oh, okay,
But
so he's
like,
alive. Then wait, how is that really a sacrifice?
well, you don't have to die for it to be a sacrifice.
Well, I
You
mean,
know?
because think of it this way, right? What did he really lose in doing that? Okay, he lost a little bit of time, but you know what? Considering he can fuck with the reality, the source of reality itself, I don't think he cares very much about how much time he spends doing something.
Yeah, I know, but like that's still he's sacrificing a lot of the current power he has in the
Well, no,
his
like,
mission of
trust me, for a while,
stopping IO.
no, trust me, I was still like,
You
yeah,
know,
no, that was a good. I felt that was the sacrifice for a while. Now that we're getting close to chapter 3, and
like his sacrifice is definitely going to be like holding the Cube Queen off.
he's
As like
probably gonna die or
stuff.
get imprisoned or some bullshit. For
If he dies,
realsies.
I will be crying, but I don't think he's gonna die.
He's definitely
Considering
gonna
the
be.
fact he can.
He's gonna be in a
Oh, he's
situation.
he's gonna get the shit beat out of him by the Cube Queen, but like he's also gonna beat the shit out of the Cube Queen.
He's gonna
Like,
be in a very interesting predicament where it's gonna be like, okay, is he captured? Is he dead?
exactly, it's gonna be left ambiguous, and then I'm assuming that we'll get him as a secret skin, and then his splash text will be like kind of leaning into the fact that he's dead, but then
right.
he'll
Well, that's the
somehow
thing,
come
right?
back.
Snapshots
like,
of him, if those exist, they would have his memory, at least his emotional memory.
Right.
So, because it's clearly shown that snapshots can have their own personality, their own character. Because Blaze is just a snapshot of Renegade Raider, but it's a fire version. It has like some sort of special ability to it. Who's to say these snapshots of Foundation won't retain the memories he has? We could honestly see the Foundation return as an army. The Seven's about to name the new name. Let me tell you.
I don't think they'd pull something like that. I feel like that would just be a little too goofy.
I think it'd be a bit more on the like end game side of things. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, but I
would still like to see that. I would like something. That's something I would love to see in this event. Is like someone either someone from IO or fucking Jonesy shows up, or even Foundation, and Foundation just hits like some buttons and rifts start popping up and start like like crazy skins just start running out ready to fight the bitch. Because like,
honestly, I'd love it if during the event, like as the Foundation is like doing something with the Cube Queen, like trying to hold her off, and we're like fighting cube monsters. All of a sudden, just like 6 fucking rifts appear in the sky, and it's just like all the other fucking 7 members, in rockets or not, or some shit.
right.
We know that the rockets can like easily create rifts with no fucking issue.
Right.
So like that could be our way of escape, is like them creating a rift to another reality or some shit. Since we know they can fucking cross between realities like it's fucking bread going on.
Yeah, either
butter.
via a sideways portal or the actual like pure portal, but they don't have access to pure portal because IO's a little bit of selfish bitch on that one.
So like I feel like it would be cool if that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they all like meet up again while the Foundation is fighting and shit, and like maybe we hear the scientist again.
We are definitely going to see the Foundation.
Visitor.
Like we are definitely seeing the Foundation this event. There's
definitely
too much is lining up for him not to be there, and considering it's like
exactly.
the mother of all enemies at this point, IO's going to have no choice but to listen to him. And then of course IO's going to backstab us again.
I'd love to hear the Foundation just say to Salone, "I'll deal with you later," as he goes to fucking fight off the fucking.
And then she's got.
I feel like that'd be such a scary thing to hear from a dude that can literally hold the fucking center of reality together.
Yeah, no, and that's like, the crazy thing to think about, is because it's like, obviously IO had good intentions to some degree because they haven't destroyed the 0 point. They know the 0 point's important to life. Granted, I don't know how changing history benefits them in any sense.
Probably just gave them more technical advancements and shit.
Well, because we know they steal things.
The course of history.
We know they steal things. Everything that was in that bunker in the Batman comics, they've stolen.
Yeah.
But why?
And in the Imposters game mode, they've stolen.
Yeah, I will say having a tiny cube was a bad idea. Just saying, don't put that in your office.
Oh yeah, no, that was, and especially just letting it fucking roam free on a goddamn table. Like, what are you thinking? What are you thinking, IO? Put that fucker in a case.
Not just a case. Destroy that thing if you can. Like, fucking neutralize it.
Oh yeah. Like, where did you get that? Why do you still have it?
and they've got that room with who people are assuming is in there is the prisoner is what people are assuming, and I wouldn't doubt it. There's a lot of fire
Well, I mean,
in
yeah,
there.
it's completely engulfed in fucking flames. I'd assume that too.
The question is he a danger, or is he just like, does he just need a special place to stay? Like, I don't know.
He's probably a danger. Fucker created a giant volcano out of nowhere.
That probably would have destroyed the island. Like, a lot of people try to destroy the island, but I think in his case at least, he probably didn't know what the fuck he was doing. He probably just thought, oh, Ice King's here, I gotta beat his ass. Hold on.
Yeah, like he.
Like he's like,
I don't know, dude.
this fucker locked me up. Hold on. And then fucking
I mean,
Caddis is
to be
like,
fair,
you know,
the council probably locked him up for a good reason.
right. No, like, and it's like, it really brings to the question of like, okay, well, fuck. I wonder if we're gonna see those two, like, their story return to some extent, because it was kind of boring from what I saw. It's like, oh, Ice King puts everything in snow. Prisoner breaks out, makes fucking volcano blows up 2 seasons later. The fuck.
And then Polar Peak has a
monster in it because
monster underneath
the volcano's like, yo, let's just blast, and the lava hits the thing, revealing the monster. Monster's like, yo, I smell energy.
Hearing the reaction to people and seeing the reaction to like sweats and streamers, seeing both retail and Tilted just get demolished was hilarious. Dude, after that event, I was cackling.
It's so wonderful to see. Now no one drops retail. Now no one drops retail. It's like,
yeah, that's because it's not as central as it used to be.
Right. No, I could have sworn though, like, when the island repurposed everything, I could have sworn I think I was talking to either you or Evan, and you guys were telling me everything's in the same place. It's just there's more new shit than
most of the things are in the same place.
Right. Like Pleasant Park,
like,
I think
Salty
is in the
Springs
same place.
wasn't in the right place.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, because Tilted was more towards the north.
Pleasant Park is a little too. I think Pleasant Park is a slight bit too in the center.
If I'm picturing it in my head correctly, and I'm overlaying the maps in my head correctly, I think Pleasant's actually in the place Tilted's supposed to be, because I remember Tilted was right next to Loot Lake, which was up to the north of the
island. No. Salty Springs is right where Tilted is supposed to be. Or I guess
Loot Lake that
Brony
big?
Burbs at the moment.
Was Loot Lake really that
yeah, Loot Lake was fucking gigantic, dude.
That makes sense. It's been a while, man. I just like it's gonna be interesting. A shopping carts are back. Forgot about that. Fucking we didn't find any, but like I don't understand why.
Yeah, I think they upped the spawn rate.
Good news, we had the right idea. Retail, Holly, anywhere residential. We're good.
Yeah.
So
we just got unlucky.
Yeah, basically. No, and then obviously the brute mechs are coming back. You know, I think most of them are at like 20-something% now, and on average it's about 2%. On average, it's about 2% an hour. So we're seeing these things within the next few days.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, it's not a wide thing. It has to be done at each station. And it's like, oh shit, that's gonna be an issue, because then if one gets funded and all the sweats go there to clear it out, they take the mech and they fuck everyone up, because they'll know how to use it.
Right.
I'm not saying casuals don't know how to use it, but like sweats know how to use it, get out, defend it, and then get back in.
Yeah, because they've been traumatized by it. They have honestly, to be fair, I'd find it hilarious if someone didn't know the mechs were coming back, and then all of a sudden they just hear the sound of a mech, and they just start having fucking war flashbacks to Season X, and just go
just start cranking all the 90s in the world.
No. And they just start fucking cranking and trying to build a goddamn
fortress
tower.
Oh,
just a skyscraper.
It's down to like half the rockets it used to be. It's guaranteed 50 damage per hit on a zombie or cube monster, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, these mechs are going to be a lot more balanced. Again, I don't know if you can really call it balanced when we have a whole bunch more tools at our disposal these days, but
I think they're a little too, air quotes, balanced.
Well, I mean,
little
we'll see.
Too,
we'll see when the first few clips start coming out. We'll see if they've been nerfed enough or nerfed too much or whatever. We'll see.
Yeah.
Because it is one of those things where it's like, damn, we got the shopping carts back. We're getting the mechs back. Can we get the quad crashers back? Because they've been updated recently. So that means...
Honestly, I hope we get them back.
I don't think we're going to get them this season, but next season there's a decent chance.
Definitely not this season.
No, there's definitely a good chance
next chapter.
Next
Next
season,
chapter would be fun.
next chapter, it's all the same at this
Next
point.
chapter, we need some more of the OG vehicles back. You know?
I do miss some of the old ones. I don't mind the cars. It was nice to have the choppers for a while, and the planes were okay when they came back for a bit, but
Yeah.
I would love to ride more quad crashers again. I want the hoverboards back. Oh my god, you could get trick shots with a railgun on that thing.
Oh
Woo!
Jesus Christ. No. Hoverboards were fun for mobility, but like if you got shot, you were getting shot, and there was nothing you could do to
Oh
stop it
no, and
except
that's
for running.
yeah, no, and that's what I'm saying. It'd still be interesting to see now that again people have developed their skills, the type of trick shots they could pull off on those things.
It would be a nightmare. You're just all the way on the corner of the map, and then all of a sudden you just get RKO'd out of goddamn nowhere from a sniper headshot from the other side of the map because they're
the arc of
flying higher than senator socks with a fucking sniper in their hands.
just the arc of the bullet. It just perfectly lines up if you head from a heavy sniper or something. Just gone. 300
Dude,
damage.
I'll be completely honest with you. I have one POI that I want them to bring back for no other reason except for it was one of my main landing spots.
And that was
I want them to bring back Haunted Hills.
Haunted Hills was one I explored a little bit of, but like
It was so fucking good.
yeah.
Such a good POI. I loved that place.
They need
Because
to have
rarely anyone went there, and there
Right.
was tons of good loot.
It was one of those like
Like-
underrated drop spots, like Coral Castle. It's
Yeah,
like Coral Castle
the only
sucks
reason
to
it was
get out
so-
of. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah,
But the loot, sheesh.
yeah. Like the only reason it was so underrated was because it wasn't close to the center of the map, and there was like a giant hill on like the back side of it, so you couldn't just run over to Pleasant. You had to run around a mountain.
Right.
To get in.
It was one of those situations where it would have been like because everyone likes to land at the center of the map because usually the best POI is there at least these days, from what I've
Mhm.
seen. And then mostly because it's just easier if that way if the storm's on any angle of the map, it takes about the same amount of time to get there. So
Right.
a spot like that definitely isn't one for a lot of sweats to drop because the sweats want to get all the kills, so they always go where everyone drops, and it's like, oh boy.
I personally like the gameplay of having to plan out how much time you have to loot and then fucking running for your life away from the storm. I don't know. I personally find that more exciting than stressing so much that your eyeballs start to pop out of your skull as your neck starts to just crumple down into your chest.
Right,
It's
exactly.
like I don't know. I find that more fun.
Right, no, and that's the reason why I
But
love
that's probably just me.
yeah, no, that's the reason why I love the fucking like Caddy Corner. That's a good drop spot. The grotto was a great drop spot. Like, yeah, sometimes you get caught in the storm, but the boats make it so easy to get out of there, let me tell you. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Like, look, if they bring back any POIs from this map, Grotto has to be one of them because that was like my landing spot. That was like when Brutus was around, no one wanted the minigun. I was like, y'all stupid. This minigun's fucking amazing.
Yeah. People never understand the power of the minigun.
I think it had like a
Never.
tighter spread was the thing, and it was like, ooh.
Oh yeah.
I was like,
Yeah, like I think during that season Muzo used it instead of an AR.
Yeah,
Like that's how
okay,
fucking good it was.
that's insane to think of because like I would use it instead of an SMG, obviously, but an AR, whew. Like that's
Yeah, that's how good it was.
yeah. I remember
Just,
getting like,
able to outmatch a fucking Scar.
yeah, no, that's how I got my first win of that season, man. It's like that thing can just drop a lot of bodies pretty easily.
Yeah.
Oh, the boombo. They got to bring the boombo back, man. That would be
that would be fun. I hope they just bring all the bows back at this point, because like
the
just fun, man.
explosive bow is fun. Obviously, the mythic variant was of course a little bit broken.
all right.
The point, the stink ones are great. The shockwave ones, you can get comboed into the storm. They take out like half your health, and then the storm does the rest. It's fucking nuts. And then the firebolt. I love fire, so like, give me that shit. Inject it into my eyeballs. That any sort of fire-based weapon, I would love to see. Like, I know you're not a fan of Dragon's Breath because of its reload, but like that shotgun could do some fucking damage, and then the fire spread on it. Holy shit! Like, there's a lot they need to do for next chapter, and I don't know if
They
they're going to be able
they
to
need
do
more weapon variety, in my opinion, because like you always find yourself with like basically the same loadout in every game, you
Right.
know. And if you want a different loadout, you have to go to like the ends of the earth to get one. You
Right,
know,
because
it's
some
like
of the weapons. See, the issue was, and I think this was the issue with the last couple seasons of Chapter One, and this is the reason why they reset the loot pool come Chapter Two, Season One. Everyone felt it was getting too cluttered because there was way too many like there's just if you wanted a certain loadout, the chances were low because there were just so many other guns in that category, which I think was the case. I think that's what I heard when Chapter Two started, and that's the reason why everyone was kind of excited. Personally, like the loot pool we have now, it's insane. A little bit overwhelming because they try to get a combat. It's like, yo, here's a pump, here's a lever action. It's like, no, I like those. Don't get me wrong. I love the pump. I miss my tack. I miss it a lot. But the charge, yeah, I never liked the charge. But the fucking the pros can make it work. I gotta give them that. They can make anything
the
work.
charge is awful.
It's just one of those things where like if I want full damage, I shouldn't have to charge up. You know what I mean? Unless it's like a rail gun or something like that makes sense.
Like that was fine in like season 3 when you know it was completely flooded, but like
Yeah.
it just doesn't really have much of a use now because you don't have to wait for someone to swim over to you
You really
to
don't
shoot them.
know. I mean, if you want to outweight them as they try to like shake your wall, then yeah, no. Again, but that's like again, the pros can do that. I can't, so I don't give a damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So the combat, I'm glad to see it back, and even if it was nerfed, it's still fun to bean a dude for like 8 damage from like way too far away. He's like, where? By the time he realizes where it's coming from, you're in the distance where you get like 50 to 60 damage a headshot, and he's dead within 2 hits.
Right.
It has that perfect middle ground of fire rate because the lever action's a little bit slower than it. And the lever action was supposed to be the middle ground between the tank and the pump. So getting the combat back, while I'm glad we got it back, again, I would love to see the boogie bombs back just because I would love the memes. I mean, again, hey, we're getting them in the season, so I don't care. Flint knock proximity, I gotta go proximity on that one because as much fun as the flint knock is, and maybe we can even get the exotic out of it. Actually, that might be a good reason to actually vote for flint knock. Oh boy. The proximity was just so much fun. It's like the dude builds a wall, thinks he's safe. As he's starting to heal, he takes 70 damage because you're like, I can just aim to the left here. Plus, let's be honest here. Like, there's so many young kids playing the game. What do you think they're gonna vote for? They're gonna vote for the thing that's easy explosive damage.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll know for sure once the vote actually comes out.
Right. Yeah. Although to be fair, the flint knock would be better for getting away from mechs if they are overpowered.
Oh yeah, no, like absolutely. But that's what we had the shockwave
You never know.
for.
It all decides.
The scythe's actually a good way to get away from them. You just start running and do a leap. If you
the best way to counter a mech if it's not a duos match or like a squads
is to hop in and just slap that. Hop
in, blow it up, and then run for your life. Because by the time they realize they're either going to take a lot of damage.
Right, and I don't know if they actually took out the self-destruct button. Because there's nothing in the files.
Oh, definitely not.
If they didn't, good. If they did, okay, well, you better have a reason for it.
True. I mean, they did nerf it a lot, so.
So yeah, they need to find some.
But I doubt they took it out.
They would have to find some way to balance out some of those nerfs, because some of those nerfs I feel were a little unnecessary, like the rocket. Oh no, wait, I think the rocket count might have actually been 12 rockets.
No, the rocket count's the same.
No, the rocket count went from 12 to 6.
No, it didn't.
Really?
That was in Season X.
Damn.
That's in Season X they made that change. It is.
Oh well, that's
still fine the way it is.
Maybe the damage went down or something. Well, I know that the shotgun damage does less than it used to.
Oh yeah.
Which is saying whatever. Yeah, I mean the mech was meant just to break shit.
Yeah, the mech is there for people who don't like having to build, but also don't like people who build.
It's my kind of vehicle. What can I say? I mean, that's the reason why the quad crashers is so good.
Saving grace in Season X.
That's the reason why the quad crashers is so good, because you can just boost through someone's builds and they're like, "Where's my build going?" And they fall to their death.
Yeah, that was fun. Dude, season 1 was Chapter 1 was just so good.
And that's what I'm saying. Is like I've never been one to say Chapter 1 was better than Chapter 2, but there was definitely things it did better. Yeah. Again, the biomes thing again. Come on, I know Epic can do it. They have the capability. They have the technology. And again, because of the fact that we might be going to the IO side of things, we could see a lot more indoor, very urban. We could see a lot more like metropolitan areas. We could see these we could be in like a lot of cities. Who knows? We could be playing a totally different game. Like it might not even be Battle Royale come the 7th.
It's gonna be
Well,
that way.
okay, yeah, it probably will be, but the landscape might be entirely different. We could be in a fucking futuristic city for the entirety of the map, which is boring, but at the same time, at least it changes up what we're used to. You know what I mean?
I mean, if we're in a futuristic city, you can expect a cyberpunk collab, Zach.
Hey, all I'm saying is, you want to build up good PR. That's what they got to do because it is not.
And
And
I mean,
it's
there was the Mecha Cuddle team leader stuff that
right, so we
was
could see that
all in a
shit.
giant
We could see
city
that
and
shit. I
stuff.
would love to see that shit. Hover bikes, dude, were in her loading screens. I would have loved to see those things come in.
True. Like those could come in. Like and anything is on the table when a new chapter rolls around.
What I
Like
do know is we are supposed to get rideable creatures. We could have
yeah,
horses.
no. Dude, I'd love to just hop on a horse and then just
Fabio's just
vroom.
Fabio's just riding on his cousin.
Oh God.
He's just shotgun in hand. Let's go, my friend.
Dude, imagine if there was like a desert section and like that's where you could find a bunch of the horses and
Right.
you could just have this Wild West shootout on top of horses and stuff.
There again, chat like not. I'm not gonna hype myself up for anything that may or may not happen, but like there are things I would like to see. Don't get me wrong. That
Dude,
would
the
be
only
great.
thing I'm gonna hype myself up for is getting the foundation because at this point,
There's no real reason at this
like,
point. Like he's
bro,
got everything, and in the start of a new
it's been
chapter,
almost a year. Just
a new chapter. Hey, it's
like
a good reason to do it.
exactly, and especially if he's gonna sacrifice himself, like the least you can do is just give us him.
Tech
I
Legends
would
pack.
prefer to still be 18 by the time he released.
I feel that. That new Tech Legends pack though, that looks pretty good. Like the way
Yeah,
8 Ball
that
looks,
looks
Lynx, my god, and then
that
Peely. Of
looks fun.
course they did Peely, my dude.
They always have to add a bad skin in there to make
Oh
me
no,
not buy
come
it. You know?
on! You can't hate on our banana friend. He's a good.
Yes, I can. I can. I've not liked him since the second I saw him. I only deal with him because I know that all the children that play this game find it funny, and the fact that I can make dick jokes about it.
I mean, his head definitely would be looking like a dick when he's in his fucking like skinless look.
Mm-hmm.
No, honestly though,
Dick
that
boy.
honestly, even if you think he's a bad skin, the tech version of Peely definitely looks like one of the better Peely skins. Like,
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely the best one. Okay, it's definitely the second best one
I was gonna say, I think.
behind Skelapili.
Oh, scale. Okay, I was gonna say the fucking Roman Emperor one, but that one's good too.
No.
Uh, well, yeah, no. So, really, it really just comes down to what is this event going to be? This event is going
Yeah.
to have to live up to a lot of hype. The black hole
It's
hopefully
it's
won't
the end
drive
of
us
season event. It's
end
going
end of season, end of
to blow
chapter.
our mind.
It's going to be crazy. And if this loading screen's anything to go by,
It,
if just anything is if anything we've gotten this season is anything to go by, this is going to be big, and this next chapter is going to be absolutely insane. There's going to be new mechanics,
oh yeah.
new POIs, possibly some old POIs coming back, remixes of old skins, new skins, obviously. Hey, new collabs for those who like it. I know a lot of people seem to hate it these days because we got a lot of them this chapter, but you know what? For what it's worth, some of them are pretty fucking fun. Like there was
Oh yeah.
the closest thing we got to another Thanos event we had with the Marvel Knockout. That was like one of my favorite game modes. It's never coming back, but you know what? It was a lot of fun. Let me tell you.
Well, that's until they do another Marvel season, which we know is on the way.
We know it's on the way, and we know Spidey's coming in next season, so we could see it next season.
He's basically confirmed to do it.
Yeah. He's probably going to be in
I
the
mean-
Battle Pass too, so that's another thing.
Oh yeah, he's probably going to be tier 100 like Carnage was this season.
I would actually prefer him to be tier 1 simply so he can have so over time you can unlock styles for him.
True. Dude, imagine if Toby and Andrew are in No Way Home and
We
like
could unlock
you
their
could have Tom
styles.
Holland style, Toby style, Andrew style, and
And
then
on
you
top
could
of
have
that-
different versions of each.
And on
like,
top, I was about to say, on top of that, we could have the like the homemade versions of the suits. The one Toby wore in his wrestling match, the fucking hoodie and mask, fucking Andrew wore, and then just the fucking setup that Tom has.
Then we could also have an Iron Spider one with like a
There is a lot they could
custom
do.
backpack pickaxe. Like they could do so much with all this stuff, you know.
Absolutely. And you know, again, we're gonna see a lot of like new gliders, new styles for things. Like we're probably gonna get more staircase style gliders. It probably won't be staircases in this case, but it'll probably be like something up
Treadmills.
treadmills, just running in general. Like there's a lot of things they could do, and it's gonna be fun to see.
Yeah.
Again, this chapter it's got a lot of hype to live up to because for a long time, we were speculating whether or not it was coming this season at the end of the season, and then it just got worse and worse because we're hyping it up. We're hyping it up. We're looking at these concepts. We're thinking some of this has to be real. We know that at least one thing we've seen in some of the trailers is going to be in the next season or the next chapter in this case. We don't know. And it's that mystery that keeps everyone coming back to Fortnite. It's the reason why I always come back, because it's like every season is something new. Every chapter is something extremely new, obviously. I just want to know, like, at this point, where are they going to go with this? Because once they fight Cube Queen, it's going into overdrive. Donald Mustard himself said, I want to say, when season 4 or 5 began, he said the story was going to be more upfront. Just how upfront are they going with this? Because I like the crypticness of it, but I like the balance it's starting to strike, where it's like you still have questions, but they're answering everything, which is the reason why
they're answering them and then giving more to fit their place.
And that's the reason why this game is going to keep going until we're at least 30. I'm calling it. It's got another 10 years on the board. It's got another 10 years at least. Who knows? Because if every chapter's 2 years. Like, I mean, what are they gonna do once they run out of like story? What are they gonna do then? You know, it's like there's not much they can do.
Right.
And you know what? That's an odd thought to think about. I think that's one of the things gamers just aren't prepared for. It's like when certain games end. Like when Fortnite ends, I'm screwed. I'm gonna be like, well, what do I play now when it's place? When Destiny 2 service ends, I mean that's gonna take a little bit longer because they have a lot of shit planned for it. But it's still going to be the same question.
Well, I mean, I'll probably be playing Halo Infinite because 10 years down the line we probably won't have the next Halo game.
Probably
let's
not.
Be honest. if this game took 6 years, I can't fucking imagine how long the next one's gonna take. Jesus Christ.
If there even is a next one.
We'll probably be on FNAF 57 by then.
I was about to say, like, when FNAF ends, your channel is fucked.
When FNAF ends, I will be crippled.
You'll be crippled but freed at the same time. You will be freed.
I'll feel so freed, but at the same time, I will also not have a YouTube channel anymore.
You just gotta hope that you got some loyal fans out there, man. I mean, me, I'll probably switch over to
30 max.
I'll probably be on TF2 by that time because, like, when I get a better laptop and I can actually record and shit, sheesh. That game's a lot of fun, like, when you don't get bot lobbies.
Yeah.
But then again, I'm just like, I don't get the tryhards too often. It's mostly just either they're toxic and it's like whatever and they leave after a few rounds, or you get, like, the really chill ones and it's great. It's great.
All right.
But yeah, no. This is going to be a good chapter, good season. This is going to be a good event.
Yeah.
We're getting a bunch of cosmetics. We're getting a bunch more shit before this season's over, too. So don't think we're done here. Don't think the Naruto update was the last update. There's going to be at least one more mini update. And then there's going to be the big update that adds the files for the event so that the moment it's ready, they slap that bad boy in the playlists. They could at least let us play creative for at least 2 days. I don't know, man. That's going to suck. Like, it's whatever. They got to do what they got to do. Yeah. But yeah, no. This is going to be good. And honestly, this update has been wild. It has been something I honestly did not see this actually happen. When Naruto got leaked, I was like, they ain't gonna do Naruto. Come on.
Dude, these motherfuckers got me to buy a fucking anime skin.
That you haven't watched in a long time or even read anything.
I haven't watched it in years.
Man,
probably at least a decade.
I'm gonna have to rewatch it now, man. You know how that feels?
Exactly.
Like, honestly, I think you'll get a kick out of it. It's a lot of fun.
Maybe. We'll see.
So yeah, no, this has been good. Good video. I'd like to think. I don't fucking know, guys. Make sure to leave a like. Subscribe to my channel. Subscribe to Rex's channel. Please.
Yeah, sub to me.
Please subscribe to our podcast and everyone related there because dear God Almighty, we need it.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna be doing a few Among Us videos in the future. With the new roles have they come out already or are they coming out?
Oh, they've come out.
But the new roles that just came out, we're probably going to be doing videos on that, and let's just say the way we play is very interesting.
Oh, it's
a
pain.
It'll be an interesting experience. So, like, no, if you guys enjoyed this, make sure to like, please. Like, it's I hate the beg, but like it seems like the only way people actually like a video. So yeah, no, thank you
Don't
guys.
hate to beg.
I hate the beg, but I have to beg. So yeah,
Yeah,
no.
yeah. If you have to do it, don't hate it.
All right, I'll see you guys in the next video, and hopefully it'll be either on the event or probably just some more live stream highlights. We'll see what happens. See you guys.